I like fast hatchbacks and I like fast Seat Leon Cupras. This one though isn't any ordinary one, it's the Cupra Estate, which is limited to 150 of them in the UK, which you can't buy anymore. But still, it's worth having a go and throwing it around on some country roads to see what it's all about. Okay, so before I start, I need to apologise for the continuity issues. I had this car a couple of weeks ago and unfortunately the in-car pieces to camera were not good at all. So I'm back in the car again and I've had a blast on some country B roads to tell you what this car is exactly like. And I have to be honest with you, it's the exact same thoughts as what I thought about the car 2 weeks back. It's just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So let me put yourself in this position. You're a family man, you've got kids, you've got a dog, you need a car that's fast. You used to have a really fast sports car back in the day. You've been shopping around, you can't go for an RS6 or a Mercedes E63 AMG because they're too fast, too powerful, too thirsty, and the running cost is just astronomical. But you've looked at a Golf R, but a Golf R looks slightly boring. You've looked at a Ford Focus ST, but that's also a little bit chavvy, a little bit Essex, shall I say. What do you go for? Well, this might be the solution. Well, sort of. It's the Seat Leon Cupra ST 300 Apt. Yes, that is quite a mouthful, but let me explain to you exactly what this car is all about. So if you know your cars very well and you read enough copies of the magazine, you know already, and also from my personal point of view, that the Seat Leon Cupra is a very well sorted car. It's the Golf's hot sister, and it's also dynamically a little bit sharper to drive. A year ago I drove a Cupra 310, which was a very interesting car. I thought it would be a little bit like a VW Golf GTI Club Sport S. Not quite so, but close enough. This one though, this one carries that same tradition. It's a limited run car from Cupra. I suppose it's the last Leon Cupra that you'll find before the next Seat Leon, which is already being unveiled. So this is the last Seat Leon Cupra before they call it the Cupra Leon. I think I got that right, because obviously Cupra has its own brand entity now. This one has an Apt Tuning Kit. It's a £500 option, doesn't void your warranty, and what they do is they free up the exhaust, give it a little bit more breathing, and they also do a remap on the 2-litre turbocharged 4-cylinder. So power goes up from 296 to 345 horsepower, and torque is up to near 440 newton meters. This means that 0 to 60 in this car is 4.6 seconds. 155 limited. It's crazy numbers, crazy numbers. Do you think of it? This car is as quick as an E61 M5 Touring. That car's a V10 with 500 horsepower. It's 4-wheel drive, it has the Haldex system, and you can only specify this car with a 7-speed DSG gearbox, which is all familiar stuff, everything that you find traditionally from the Volkswagen Audi group. DSG gearbox, good engine, good handling. I thought that this car would be a little bit numb to drive, a little bit unfrisky, because let's face it, it's got a long wheelbase than a standard Leon. It's a little bit heavier. I didn't think that this car was going to be that spicy to drive compared to, say, the standard 310, but boy am I so wrong. It's better. It is nuts. So you've got adjustable ride mode settings that you can change in the computer system. So obviously you can change the steering, you can change the suspension, you can change the driving modes. What I do is I put it in individual, basically just like a Club Sport S really. You can put it in the individual mode, put the steering to its lightest personally, and then put the suspension into comfort. And when you do, boy do you unlock some potential with this car. Let's talk about ride comfort. Now, on the face of it, this car is running on pretty big rims and extremely low profile tyres, but that doesn't seem to defer the way this car sort of flows down the road, especially even if you go in the Cupra hardcore setting. This thing is so supple, the ride is very well judged. Don't get me wrong, it's still a little bit on the firm side, it's still a little bit hot hatchery, but there's some proper quality into the ride comfort with this car, and the faster you go, the better it gets. The steering, lifeless, E-Pass, but it's quick. I can place the car exactly where I want it to be. It's nice. It's finished with this Alcantara wheel, which is cool, it's good trim. The seating position, well, seating position is a tad high, a little bit high for my liking, but for those who are, say, a little bit of a short ass, they'll like it because you can see over the car a little bit and it adds a little bit of confidence to those. You've got the TFT display, which is familiar in all the VW Audi group stuff. You find in S3, Golf R, blah blah blah. That's really, really cool. You can change it to like the fighter pilot display as well too, which is quite nice. You've got the launch control feature, which is also quite good. That's quite easy as well to engage it. Left foot on the brake, accelerate it out, boom. You'll do everyone at the Traffic Light Grand Prix, maybe even the Model 3, maybe. But what I am so impressed by is the way this car handles. You know, for an estate car, I thought the ride and handling would just be a little bit slack, a little bit numb, and it's not good to pre-predict these things with cars, but you sort of do that in your mind. You know, you look at it on paper and you're going to go, no, I'm not sure I'm going to quite like this. Plus, this is not a car that you can buy anymore. There's 150 of them made and they're all sold out, and this car costs the thick end of nearly £40,000, which is quite a lot of money, but bear with, this is actually half decent car. Trust me, because what this car is, it's a GTI Club Sport S that's a little bit looser. What I mean by like that, it doesn't run the Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2s. It's a bit friskier, and when you start throwing it about, this thing wants to go for a home. Okay, you've got to be a bit aggressive on the brakes and bung it in, but this car wants to play. It wants to bust some moves, and I'm all for it. Plus, there's an aggression to the Golf R. You just want to grab it by the scruff of the neck. The engine just wants to rev to the top end. Everything's done at about 6,500 RPM, but this thing is just so fast. It just covers ground like nothing you would ever believe, but at the same time, it's also quite engaging. It wants to move around, you can adjust it on the brakes, and there's a slight bit of throttle adjustment on the throttle. Not much, but a slight bit of throttle adjustment. It's quite nice, and it helps when you go into a corner a bit too fast, which brings me to the downsides of the Seat Leon Cupra ST 300. Ah, bloody hell, what a mouthful. Imagine explaining that at the pub or to a bird on a date, on a Tinder date. I tried doing that once, failed miserably. First off, the cabin. Nothing wrong with it, but it is a little bit dull. These seats, which are just trimmed in this fake carbon, not a fan. There are a few little intricate bits, like the bronze bits, to let you know that you are in something quite special. But the outside's actually very, very nice. You've got a few bits of carbon, you've got the bronze wheels. I personally think it looks fantastic. It's just a sexy looking car in my opinion. I'm going to do launch control quickly just because why not? You're allowed to do launch control on a public road as long as you're in the speed limit. So easy. So quick. And that's 60. Ridiculous how fast this car is. Yeah, the interior is slightly boring compared to, say, a Golf R or an S3. But the price you pay for is the exclusivity. Also, underneath, there are a few different bits. The top mounts, the suspension top mounts on the front, the same as what you find on the GTI Club Sport S. And you've got 2 degrees of negative camber, both on the front and on the rear, which just helps with the composure of the tyre. Just allows you to turn in a little bit more aggressive. I'll tell you what, if you took this car to a track day, put some tasty tyres in it like Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2s, you would do a lot of cars on track. Plus you could fit your dog in it, plus you could go to the tip in it, plus you could do so many cool things with this. It's great. It is great, but the downside is you can't buy one of these anymore. So all I can suggest is, if you can find one of these for sale and you want something a bit special, a bit different, something that you can poodle around town, which is great because I've just come from, say, my B road blast home and I just want to putt around, and you want something that doesn't attract too much attention, you're not a badge snob, you just want something that's for the drivers, something that's really, really quick. In fact, this car is very, very quick. When I had this on test, the same week I had the Porsche 911 Carrera T. In case you haven't seen that, check the thing at the top if you want to watch the 911 Carrera T video. My mate was in this and I was following the Carrera T and I was struggling to keep up, man. I was working really, really hard, whereas matey boy was chilling like this. put it in sport mode. You can let the DSG do its thing, man. Don't need to touch it at all. So yeah, it's really, really good. When you're hammering it, it's not that great on feel. Low 20s. You'll struggle to get 30 mpg on a run. What else? I'm trying to think what else is bad. I think that's it. It's a good car. Yes, it's a bit pricey. It could be a little bit cheaper. But what else does this? A Focus ST isn't as fast and isn't as dynamically polished. A Golf R is brilliant, but a Golf R doesn't add the excitement that this has. So actually my conclusion would be is if you're looking for a Golf R but don't want the boringness of a Golf R, then grab yourself one of these. Would I have one of these over a Golf R? Yes, I would. I definitely would. And on that note, I think it's time to end the video. Thank you very much for watching. Like, subscribe as always. Until next time, folks. See you later.